now to Manu Raju, who is live for us on Capitol Hill. Tell us more, Manu, about what's going on with the Department of Homeland Security and this potential shutdown.
Yeah, this is looming at the end of the day on Friday. A deal must be reached to fund the Homeland Security Department. Otherwise, the agency will shut down and all the components underneath it, not just in dealing with immigration enforcement, but also TSA and FEMA and the Coast Guard, major federal agencies, all because of this fight over ICE. Democrats have been demanding significant changes the way that ICE agents are being deployed by President Trump. New policies, everything ranging from use of force policies. They want changes to new body cameras to be worn by federal officers and to have them remove their masks while conducting these law enforcement operations, changing how warrants are issued. Many proposals that the White House and Democrats and other Republicans simply will not go for. The White House proposed its own counteroffer last night, and I've told from Democratic sources that they are not in favor of it, which raises the serious possibility of a shutdown, the third shutdown of Donald Trump's second term in office. And I talked to a number of Democrats about whether they'd be willing to accept even a short-term extension of Homeland Security Department funding to avoid a damaging shutdown. And the short answer is no. But will you guys suffer some political blowback, do you think, if DHS is shut down? Because FEMA could be impacted, TSA could be impacted. Yeah. Avoid a damaging shutdown. And the short answer is no. But will you guys suffer some political blowback, do you think, if DHS is shut down? Because FEMA could be
and what's not right with the American people. I think continuing to give ICE money without reining in anything of what they're doing is not something that should merit the Democratic caucus's support.
The American people are demanding that there be significant, far-reaching reforms to eliminate the brutality and violence and violation of basic rights on the part of ICE and CBP. Until those demands are met, the American people commit, I am unwilling to approve any more spending.
And a key vote is slated for this afternoon to take up a House bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security through September. That would require 60 votes in order to overcome a Democratic filibuster. And we do expect Democrats to block this bill this afternoon. The big question is going to be whether or not senators and House members stick around, because they are slated to begin a recess as soon as the end of the day today and be out all of next week. So if there is no resolution and members go home, we could see a shutdown of this critical agency last through next week and into the week after that.
All right, Manu Raju, thank you so much. Well,
I want to bring in CNN correspondent Priscilla Alvarez right now. Priscilla, I want to get your reaction to this dramatic announcement from the border czar, Tom Homan. What are you hearing from your sources?
Well, look, there were two themes here in the course of that press briefing, and it was targeted enforcement and cooperation. Now, targeted enforcement was important from the get-go. Remember, it was President Trump that dispatched the border czar, Tom Homan, about 2 weeks ago to the state to rectify the issues after there were two deaths of Americans. And so what he has been stressing is that he wants federal agents to know who they're going after, to identify them ahead of time, to create a strategy, an operation, and go after that individual or individuals. This is something that Tom Homan has been doing for many decades, and something that is very much what he believes in and has believed in. That doesn't foreclose that others could be wrapped up in that, but certainly this was something that he came to Minnesota to try to fix, in comparison to then Border Patrol Commander Gregory Rubino, who had a more sweeping approach to immigration enforcement. So he talked about that often. But cooperation was the other part of this. And the political back and forth between the White House and local and state officials, it always came back to limiting cooperation with the federal agents on the ground. And that was something that when Tom Homan came in, he said that he was going to talk to the county jails to have those conversations so that when they release an undocumented immigrant with criminal records, that ICE could take them into custody. So he spent the first part of that speech really talking about that work and talking about that cooperation, leading up to and justifying the drawdown of the surge in Minnesota. Now, of course, we can't overlook how we got to this point. 2 Americans died in Minnesota. There was the aggressive confrontations between the federal agents and with protesters. And so now we're at a point where they're saying they're going to draw down the surge, even with immigration enforcement continuing. As you heard there from Whitney, ICE has been in Minnesota for for many decades. So they will continue the work they've been doing, but continue to do it the way that they have been doing it for years, not this surge of thousands of federal agents deploying to the state. So this has been a bit of this is a major shift in the way that they have been talking about Minnesota, certainly. I think we still need to hear from the state and local officials to see how they are receiving this, because of course they have been calling for the administration to draw down the number of agents in the state.
What's going on, Priscilla? Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. So I had sifting through thousands of tips.